approach which the custom house agents or a forwarder can take so that they will be able to face these challenges, not only face the challenges, but how they will come up better way shining. These are the few my inputs. These are all practical based on my this thing. If you look at the why we do the business, the one, you have to grow. Every company in this world will always think how they will grow faster than market, how to have profitable growth, and how to have a cash in hand. So the objective will be always like this. Then the customers, when you do a business, it is always in your mind that what are your customers and what customer is important for me. You know generally that yes, there are some customers which are big. Somebody will be your number one customer having a lot of shipments. Some customers will be smaller. Some will be important from strategic point. Some will be important as they will give you a steady business. So each customer has got a value and you have your own ideas about each customer. Then internal process to satisfy our customers process, what we excel at. This is a very important topic that your each customer needs something different and how you are going to do that. Because you will find that there are some customers who have very few shipments and they have a least expectation from you. Okay, when his shipment comes, you will be able to help them to clear it out. They do not have that big volume, they do not have that knowledge. There will be some customer who are very demanding. They will look from you a very reasonable rate, but at the same time highest efficiency, faster clearance, less issues. Then there will be some customers who will demand from you what services or value are they will be asking from you. So all these customer needs has to be together put and how you will do that. And the one important thing is to achieve all these things. Do you have the right people or the employees and competencies? This is very critical. Because if you decide that you want to expand, do you have a right people or do you have employees? There are various ways that you may think of recruiting more people, more educated people, which will add cost on to that. Whether you will like to train some of the people or retrain them. So there are two ways. One, you will find that you want to grow faster, then you find out what your customer wants and whether you are able to deliver that and whether you have right employees. And it is same way that you have a right employees with you today. And then you can think a little different way to make your process, try to satisfy the customer and grow. So there are two different ways of doing that. So this is a basic and each organization works on that. There are key challenges. The business challenges, we have seen that. In business, the new regulations are coming, new critical areas, customer expectations are increasing. And what is your critical success factors? What strategic objective you have and financial goal. So if you look at, you have one more important thing is customer satisfaction. I am not very sure, I have never come across from any CHA whether he has done his customer satisfaction survey and asked me some question. But if you look at the freight forwarders, most of them have yearly satisfaction survey and then you reply that. So this will give some indicators to you that what customer is looking for or what are their new expectations. Similarly, employee satisfaction is also very important. Whether you are able to fulfill the employee requirements and what are their challenges. Which customers you should target. It's very important that you need to keep it in mind that there are customers which are new coming in the market. They do not. If you look at today's, the time is where there is most of the things are outsourced. And in outsource, the new companies which comes, they do not have the people who are into trade for long time or they do not have the experts. At this time, they look for somebody who will give them a comprehensive, complete solution. And this is a golden opportunity for you to provide them everything outsourced, whether right from if that company is foreign, right from getting them IEC code to completing their documentation. There will be various opportunities. So which one you need to target? Or you have big customers who have volumes, who are in market, whether you will be able to get their business. And how the customer should look at you. The most important thing is that if the customer is looking to you at only today custom house agent, then you have a limited role. We have talked about many things. I will give you one example. Yesterday, it was mentioned that the travel agents are going out of business and everybody is going on web to book the tickets. So what happens that how they will do? So for example, our Siemens travel agent, what he did, that he said that, okay, now on each ticket, we are able to give you a comprehensive report by which you will be able to claim the taxes. So what he did, his ticket format was not very suitable for the tax authorities. So he modified his program, made the ticket printed in such a way that any authority will look into tax components so easily. Then he said that, okay, I will give you monthly Excel statement supported by each ticket copy in PDF form. So, and then you can claim that tax from the authorities. And what he did, he said, okay, but for each ticket, I will charge you 100 rupees. And the new business was formed. So for my tax people, it becomes so simple that monthly they get one bundle of tickets, the statement, everything into right column, and then there is no dispute with tax authorities. So the new business was formed. If you look at when on-site audit came, what happened is that the big consultancy, as soon as notification came, in next week we got a notification from them that, okay, on-site we can guide you. Whereas in market nothing was there. And look, this business was very important. Even though there may be only 200 companies which are into accredited client, but this is very interesting that the CHA can take help, can support an on-site audit. And they can, but if you look at what is your preparedness for that, whether the document to be provided, everything is available, how you will encash on that. So similar way, there are lot many possibilities. Similarly, the taxes claims on the, when we claim the taxes, each CHA can give us monthly statement by which it will help my tax department to claim the tax, and it could be added business. So like that, there are new opportunities which are coming, which will always help. And the customer should look to you as a value-adding partner and not only the CHA. Which process needs to be improved, redesigned, and introduced? Very simple example I will give, that when I took over this import job, we used to never get any document on time, and we used to search any time, where is this document? Then we requested our CHs that we want all the documents which are related with that shipment scanned, available to us on CDs and monthly. And believe it to me, now last 10 years, and then we've gone back to 5 years, so I have around 12 years all the documents scanned available. And this is also one good support which CHA can give. So when they give it to me, they have a copy. And such can be easily reproduced and can be given to this thing. So which skills do we have? And which skill you need to acquire? These are the important questions you should ask yourself. Then what is this balance scorecard? I am trying to make it very simple. It's a big subject. You need to have a strategy. One is growth strategy and one productivity strategy. And both needs to go together hand in hand. You will always find that when we are growing, we add people, we add many things, but we forget the productivity. And then when there is a little decline, you will find that you have excess manpower, you have lot many things. So you need to balance the growth strategy and productive strategy. And yesterday, very important thing which we talked about is the vision, which is a very nice presentation which Adil gave to us, vision. And if you are working on vision or strategies, you need to find out something very important is a time. If you look at any CHA, they are bogged down with a normal transaction. At the end, when they go home, they are happy that what consignments got cleared. At the same time, they carry the burden, what needs not cleared today may need to be cleared tomorrow. And you need to find out time. When you want to make a vision, you need to have a time, you need to plan a strategy. For that, you need to have people. So, in this balance scorecard, you have to really find out how you will have the strategy, whether you want to add number of customers, or with existing customer you want to have new business, new location offices. This is always a find from customer's angle. This is a very important point that when we need somebody to clear, we find that, okay, all the clearing agents do not have offices in all the major ports. So you have a challenge. To search clearing agent which will have offices in all the 4 metros. Secondly, when I say the offices, there are many clearing agents which will have offices all the 4 cities or maybe more than that. But you will always find that some are working very on minuscule, or they do not have that competencies which are there in core area. If the clearing agent is good in Mumbai, but maybe he will have challenge into Calcutta. If the Calcutta is very good clearing agent, he will have a least present in West. And when we need somebody good into Vizag or somewhere, then we have to really hunt. So whether you want to open all the offices, whether you have a right customers who will ask the offices across the place. Similarly, the average shipment values. When you clear the shipments, what value is average value? Whether you are getting the minimum fees out of that, or finally at the end you are having reasonable profit, but are you losing some money onto some shipments, and some shipment it is making up? You need to have that clearance time, agency charges per shipment, value added per customer, plus with your employee. If you are having 100 employees, then how much you are earning per each employee needs to be known. What happens is that this is a very interesting thing. 90% of people don't plan. Out of that planning, 90% plan fails, and maybe only one plan goes out of that. So how to change this? This can be changed only when you have really a business scorecard into place, clear goal, understanding goal, and how to achieve the results which you need to do. If you look at only financials in today's day, it is not sufficient. You need to have a complete framework to achieve that. This bifocal vision, this is again a management term. I mean, many of you who are into little elderly age, they will know when the first time they wear the bifocal specs, how difficult it was. Same way it is here. When you try to have a long-term view, your short-term will getting affected, or you will look only for short-term and long-term will be getting forgetting. How to do that? Then rear-view driving. This is very interesting. What has happened in past? Unless you have a data, you don't capture the events, you will not know the trends. So when you do any planning, whether it is short-term or long-term, you need to have a past data. Where is organization going? What you have achieved in last few years and what you are going to achieve. Then how is the business doing all things, whether we are, what need to be done, whether we are doing it. And balance between long-term development and short-term operational procedure. There are many things which you need to do to achieve these goals. If you look at these slides, give you what is sustainable. You will find in market so many examples that if you manage operations, you manage customers, then your business, it has got a very short-term effect. You do your day-to-day job good, it is not got. The manager or people forget. If you clear 100 shipment good, fine. It will be forgotten very easily. You manage your customers, give them something, the effect is only up to around 2 years. Then customer will start expecting what more you are doing. If you do something innovation, which will last to you maybe only 48 months, because by that time when you do something new implement, your competitors will look into that, they will copy, they will implement, they will learn, and that innovation will become a common. Then you have to manage regularity and social processes. And finally, as we saw yesterday, few people mentioned that finally it boils down to a good citizen, which covers everything that you need to do. So what needs to focus? You will see that unless you have a really long-term view, it is to keep your business successful, it is always a tough job, and you need to invest time in that. If you look at, but how you will do in your own business? This is a question, because these are management jargons. It sometimes helps, when you listen, it looks interesting. Simple. If you look at your billing, you will find in some cities your outstanding is less, some cities it is higher. Then there are issues, whether your office is efficient or your customers are delaying the bills. Which are the bills which goes 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? If you keep this data or you analyze, then you will get an answer. Oh no, in my Calcutta office, there is something delay into billing itself. The customer, it is not reaching customer on time. Some in cities you will find your department is efficient, but customer is delaying it. And when you have this data and you are able to plot, when you meet customers, you will be able to tell, oh, I am not a finance company. I am a custom broker and I need to get my money for the job on time. You are able to see that. And when you have such data, you will be able to definitely face anybody. This is also at various places you will find that there is a interconnection, there are gaps which you need to understand. And in that, where are the gaps you need to find out, whether you have a head office which is doing billing, whether there is a gap between head office and airport office, or you have transport bills coming late, etc. All that can be seen. And what is this KPI? Key performance indicators. These are important. You need to have the key performance indicators for your customers, your finance, your processes, and employees. That if you look at in employees, whether you have right people, right number of people, whether they are leaving it, jobs, then in processes, how many times the bill of entries are submitted on time, how many are error-free bill of entries, then how many are the cases for reassessment, shipment delays due to payment, whether you have intimated to customer for payment or what is gone wrong, the clearance to billing period, number of bills returned by customer because of some dispute, bills without supporting. If you keep a track of this data, you will be able to eliminate such delays. And you will be able to find out the key places where you need to have a key people. You will know that you need some good people at some supervision, then you need to work on that. And the key people with key processes will make really this success. So in order to have a better this thing, we have to have, I will just run through some short statistics which are maintained so that you will know how it helps. I'll just take last 3 minutes, 2 minutes. This message. Thank you. If you look at, we maintain the statistics, how it helps. It gives you number of consignment cleared, and you will see that in 2003 it was around 4 days. Now, last year it was brought to 1.41 days. And the number of shipments got cleared around 24,000 from air in Mumbai. So you will find that when this growth is there, how you are able to manage. You need a right CHA. CHA people need to be trained, and we are able to eliminate the errors so that you are able to clear. How much demurrage was paid? You will find one very high block, which was where the 1.5 was implemented and you have no choice but to pay a demurrage. And otherwise, demurrage was brought into control. Similarly, if you clear in 1.41 average days, doesn't mean that everything. You will know that still some shipments will go more than 3 days, more than 5 days, and how much are they, and how much gets cleared on one day. When this statistics is there, and this statistics is available per CHA wise, per my employee, I am able to look at efficiency of my people and CHA to do that. How the values are varying, or how the custom duty is thing, how much freight we are paying, how much tonnage is getting moved at each airport. And secondly, hourly, if you clear on one day, it's not sufficient in some business. So you track down the clearance in number of hours. That something getting cleared before 10 o'clock in morning for yesterday's landing, something getting cleared at 5 o'clock, something getting at night, and then this is the efficiencies you built into by this data. And the last but not the least, the important thing is that there are a lot of concerns. No problem. Yeah, I wish was for CHA. Yeah. Concern. Yeah. If you look at, you have a data by per CHA, we are able to monitor how many shipments handled, how much agency commission you have given, how much clearance time has been given to them. All that can be monitored. This is what is the expectation from customer. Internally, you can do that. The last important point that you will find, but Indian CHA has got still a lot of advantages. You will find, looking at the complexities of law, many of the big companies, they are going out of custom house agent business, and this business will be available to local custom house agent. Indian custom agents like you, very flexible. Then there is a consistency, because these are mostly family owned business. So there is a consistency available. and you have a rapport with customer for so many years, and you are rapport with customers for long years. So this is a very good advantage for you. The relationship is there. Then second is the knowledge which is available. Then the attrition you can handle. You will find that the big companies, the people come, as soon as they don't get promotion, they leave, they go to another company. In your case, you are able to handle this business. The value added services you will be able to definitely give, looking into that. And all these advantages, if it can be in cash, then I feel that even though there is a challenges, these challenges are CHA will be able to really overcome and close it. Yeah, we'll be able to close. We'll be able to really look into and have a new additional businesses. So this was from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pramod. Pramod basically represents the industry perspective in the session. He did take us through what the logic for business is, the financial perspective, the customer perspective, the internal process perspective, and the employee perspective. He put forth certain key questions like how important is customer satisfaction, who should be the customer you should target, the many possibilities and new opportunities for value-added business, and skills which we need to acquire for maintaining that fine edge. Also, he introduced a balanced scorecard framework and how 90% of the people don't plan, and out of the plans, how 90% of the plans fail. So only 1% finally succeeds, and perhaps with that perspective, he said what the importance of planning is. The evolution of the performance management framework, how do you identify and pursue and achieve your goals? How can you make yourself sustainable? Regular process reviews. Further, he also introduced the key performance indicators, KPI, the importance of KPI for customers, finance, process, and employees. And the balanced scorecard also allows you to plan talent management. He also shared the Siemens experience in respect of various standards they have been able to achieve through the monitoring mechanism. And last but not the least, he covered how the Indian CHA has certain advantages. Being flexible, family-owned, and the continuance of relationship, the knowledge which you have acquired, and the value-added service. So thanks once again, Pramod. The last speaker for the session is Amit Saharia, who is Senior Manager with A.T. Kearney. His topic for the day is Global Supply Chains, Trends and Impact on LSPs. Let me just give you a small brief on Amit Saharia. He has over 10 years of global management consultancy experience. So some of the select engagement experience which he has a supply chain logistics optimization project for a global beverage player, a growth strategy project for a leading agri-imports player, sales effectiveness strategy and implementation for leading Indian food company, strategic growth plan for leading player in food processing and delivery industry, network footprint and logistics strategy for leading global beverage player, operations strategy for FMCG companies, selling general administrative strategy as part of merger of two leading multi-billion global diversified industry product companies. On the education front, he's basically done his management science from Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland, Ohio, and he's done Masters in Operation Research from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and a Bachelor's in Mathematics from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. Amit, for you.
Sure.
All right. Hello, everyone. I think we've had some very enriching content discussions earlier part of the day, and keeping the same vein going forward. What I wanted to give a quick flavor to all of you was what we see working with a lot of the companies here, how supply chain as such is moving from a very transactional enabler kind of role to a driver of competitive advantage for companies. And as a result, there are certain clear implications for all of you all here in terms of what you need to do going forward. So that's what I'll spend the next 15, 20 minutes on. So three things we'll talk of. I'll quickly cover some of the key mega trends that are shaping the business environment and supply chains in Asia per se. Then we'll delve into some of the leading supply chain best practices that are being followed in the region. And finally, we'll close with certain implications for logistics service providers, so of relevance to you that you should think about going forward. So net-net, there are some, if I try to look at the mega trends that are shaping the industry, there are some 5 things that are key in this context. One is the rise in consumer affluence. Then there is the increased urbanization. There is infra development, rising costs, and regulatory environment. So if we're talking about the rising consumer influence, which is the first one here, what we see is that there is a tremendous growth that is being seen in the middle class population. And with that growth is coming in a lot of prosperity, a lot of buying power, as a result of which they are very keen now to move to the next level. And when I see next level, I mean moving to premium products, moving to products where they can get higher value. So what it really means for supply chain is a supply chain which is able to give them higher service levels. And that is what we'll touch on as we go forward. On increased urbanization, again, it's, if you look at India per se, there is a lot of focus on semi-urban and rural markets which is now shaping up. So as a result, for supply chain, now the frontier has further expanded. It's not just the urban context, it's also moving into the regional spaces. So with a lot of these regional tier 2, tier 3 supply chains are also emerging in this context. Infra development is another key trend I just wanted to quickly touch on, where we see that a lot of major artery lanes are being set up. And although I think there is still some ground to cover in there, if you look at, there are challenges in the rural and semi-urban infrastructure domain, but still we see that there is a lot of money which is being pumped in, a lot of FDI and such kind of, I would say, boosts this very sector is getting. So as a result of that, there is a lot of consolidation, warehouses, manufacturing footprints that is happening. People are looking at larger fleet, larger truck types and stuff to get into those domains. Rising cost, as all of you know, has been touched on earlier as well. There is commodity inflation, which is always an issue. The rapidly increasing costs are not just a function of the metros, it's also now happening in the low-cost manufacturing locations. So it's leading to a lot of cost pressures as such, which now the supply chains of today need to address. As a result of which, companies are looking at higher automation, higher mechanization, looking at the best ways to relocate the factory, considering that the low-cost destinations are not low-cost anymore. And finally, a topic which was also touched earlier was the regulatory environment. So if you see tax regimes, stricter environment regulations, all of those are coming in. If we look at food sector per se, a lot of the regulations are now moving to international standards. If I'm talking at FFFAI, it's moving to the Codex standards and such. So because of that, the supply chains need to be very, very responsive, and a lot of focus needs to be given on the execution and operations efficiency as such. So with that, with those elements in mind, let's just talk about how supply chains are coping with these mega trends or challenges in some cases. So there are 4 key themes that stand out. One is the customer centricity, which I'll just talk about momentarily. Then there is the strategic value chain partnerships and relationships. There is readiness for growth, and there is reaching new cost frontiers. If I talk of the first one, which is customer centricity, a new best practice which is now emerging in this light is what we call the tailored supply chain concept. What that really is, or what that really talks about, is that no more does one size fit all approach work. You're talking about cases, what we just heard of is that you have customers who might be requiring different service levels. You don't need to treat them all with the same level of service level. There are different flow paths in the market that exist. My approach for getting into the rural space, getting into the semi-urban space does not have to be the same as my approach for getting into the urban. If I'm talking about the route to markets, those route to markets need to be different. So far we were looking at a very one-size-fits-all approach, a very standard, I would say, algorithm as part of our supply chain to cater to the market, but now is the need, and a lot of companies are working towards that. As a result of that, the key supply chain implication where there is relevance to all of you also is that it needs to be very, very responsive. If I'm talking about a fleet of trucks which is 16 tonners, it might work in some domain, but in some 9 might be the best, or in some you might have to move to a much, much smaller format. So that responsiveness, that agility, and that fungibility is something which is very critical going forward. So the paradigm now is not just about cost or about service level, it's about the combination of two. We have had a lot of examples of efficient supply chains in the past, which are working on a very continuous replenishment model, a pull-based strategy. We have also seen cases where supply chains are very responsive in terms of making sure that at whatever cost you are achieving the service level. But now it is not